change is coming to the Gulf. Today, tomorrow, it has to come. It's the government in Bahrain, it has to change, and there will be a democratic rule. There is no going back now. And thank you very much.
Thanks very much. And we'll have another speaker in a few minutes from Bahrain, but I just want to introduce Sarah. Sarah, sorry, apologies. So Sarah, who is from Palestine, is also going to say a few words to us. So please give her a warm welcome.
I'll just speak briefly about the American lead scare about Muslim people in the last 10 years, and also about Obama's current policy on my home, of which I am denied return, Palestine. I personally find it very insulting the Western attack on Muslim people that has taken flight since George Bush's so-called war on terror began. Obama has essentially kept up this policy against Muslims. We can see that clearly in how boastfully he dealt with bin Laden's death alone, aside from anything else. Such slogans as "Bin Laden first, Islam next" were sprayed onto walls of mosques in America recently in the wake of his death. We must ask ourselves always, for what higher political agenda comes this unwarranted hatred of an entire people? Why are wearers of the hijab or niqab instantly looked on as potential terrorists? It is a sad state of affairs, my friends, the day people are fully aware of the history of Nazi Germany and yet somehow allow a place like Guantanamo Bay to intern and brutally torture people. Society rarely seems to learn history's important lessons. This American fascism must be stopped, and I will oppose it until this time comes. Obama's speech on the Arab Spring and on the central issue of this Middle East, Israel and Palestine, was disappointing and had nothing new. He mentions the 1967 borders as if they're some sort of glorious thing, as if that would actually create justice and peace. The central focus of justice and peace in the region should be the Palestinians' right of return. No one has the authority to compromise on basic human rights. International law is very clear and uncompromising on all refugees, including Palestinians. Those made refugees by war have the right to return to their homes, regardless of who come to power. Someday, you can tell your children that you witnessed the Palestinian ethnic cleansing by Israel. Americans can say that billions of their tax dollars financed it. Arabs of other nations can say that they painfully stood by and watched, but did nothing. Palestinians will die protesting, or will die 1,000 deaths when they tell their children that the world ceased to recognize, even on paper, that they are humans worthy of basic human rights and freedoms. Zionists are upset by Obama's mention of the 1967 borders, of course, because this encroaches on the twisted belief that God gave them the entire Holy Land. They want to drive on with illegal settlement construction in the West Bank, drive on with the apartheid wall, and keep on strangling the Gaza Strip. Will Obama ground Israel to the halt on these horrific and shameful policies? He certainly shows no sign of it and never has. We know he is completely devoted to Israel and AIPAC, and it shows in how both America and Israel behave internationally. It will take the power of us, the people, to stop these policies and gain justice. Thank you.
Free, free Palestine! Free, free Palestine! Free, free Bahrain! Free, free Bahrain! Free, free Palestine! Free, free Bahrain! Okay, just before we introduce our next speaker, can I just say that somebody has left a bag, a leather bag, I think just behind the pillar here. It's yours, is it? It's not yours, just behind you there. That lady on my left, behind the Stop Ethnic Cleansing banner. So if you've left your handbag, if anybody's left their handbag, a leather handbag, it's behind there. I hope it's not a suspect device. Okay, maybe Samir? Yes, so I'd like to welcome another voice to talk to us about Bahrain. So please give him a warm welcome, Samir.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Samir Shirin. I have been working with Bahraini community for a number of years here in Dublin, and there's a few words I would like to say about Bahrain. Not many people know about Bahrain. What is Bahrain? Bahrain is a little island of Saudi Arabia. Just like Ireland is a little island of Europe. So in that sense, there's a lot of similarities between Bahrain and Ireland. Bahrain has been colonized or had been colonized for many, many, many years, just like Ireland. And in 1970s, beginning 70s, 860s, Bahrain has been given its, it became an independent state, right? Now, British, it was in the hands of Brits. It was a British colony, just like Ireland. And in the late 60s, beginning 70s, it became an independent state. What happened then, that Brits, when they were living, they imposed a small minority over the huge majority of Bahrain population as a kingdom. Guess why? Because that was the easiest way to exploit the oil results and not give to people anything. Now, since then, Bahrain has been ruled by this family, and their prime minister had been in power for 42 years. 42 years, one prime minister. How about that? Now, since 14th of February, Bahraini people dared to stand up for their independence. And guess what? They have been killed, they have been tortured, they have been persecuted. 1,500 people in custody. 30 people had been killed. 4 guys have been killed in custody. 4 guys killed in Bahraini custody. How about that? And guess what? Saudis dare to send over their military to suppress that. What Barack Obama does about that? What the United States does about that? Guess what? Nothing. There's an uprising in Tunis. There's an uprising in Egypt, in Libya, in Syria. Everywhere we hear the voice of Americans saying, yes, they support that, and they put pressure on local governments, and local governments have to do something about that. Once they get the pressure from Americans, they have to do something. They have to negotiate with the president. But why not Bahrain? We haven't heard a single word in Bahrain. When it comes to Bahrain, they say that's their internal business. Why is that? In what sense Bahrain is different? Bahrain has an oil, and there's a big neighbor of Saudi Arabia. These can spread over to Saudi Arabia. Americans are very, very concerned about that, and that's why poor Bahraini people, they are not getting their rights. So what we got to do here, we got to put the pressure on Barack Obama and his administration. Once we put, they will hear our word. And if we put this pressure, then maybe Barack Obama will go over and put the pressure on Bahraini government so they start negotiate with their people. Free Bahrain! Free Bahrain! Free Bahrain! Free Bahrain! Free Bahrain! Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you much. Yes. Justice for Bahrain!
Justice for Bahrain!
Justice for Bahrain!
Justice for Bahrain!
Free, free 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 Bahrain!
Barack Obama, don't you know dictators have got to go? Barack Obama, don't you know? Barack Obama, don't you know? Barack Obama, don't you know? Free, free Bahrain!
Free, free Bahrain!
Free, free Bahrain!
Free, free Bahrain!
Justice for Bahrain!
Justice for Bahrain! Justice for Bahrain!
A few more people are going to speak to us before we finish up the rally, and I'd like to introduce next Councillor Reid Smith from the Socialist Workers' Party.
Thanks, Richard. I'm speaking here today on behalf of the Socialist Workers' Party, but I also want to send the solidarity of the People Before Profit Alliance. I'm going to a conference in Cairo in about 10 days' time, which is a global anti-war, anti-imperialist conference, and I look forward to meeting Palestinians, Bahrainians, Syrians and people from all of these oppressed countries who are fighting for democracy and for their liberty. And I will be bringing a message to them from this country, not just from my party, but also my trade union, Unite, is sponsoring me to go there. And a lot of people will say to me, what to do with us in Ireland? People who are critical for us opposing the visit of Queen Elizabeth and the visit of Barack Obama. And I, for one, am sick to the teeth this week of imperialist representatives of the biggest powers in the world who come here on the basis that they are proud of the peace process and what the Irish people have achieved, and at the same time continue to bomb, slaughter, murder and occupy and prop up puppet dictators across the Middle East. The hypocrisy is so gross, it turns my stomach, and I know I speak for many, probably a huge minority